It's a little bit windy. I wanted to do this live outside today, so it's beautiful and I'm tired of the snow. And today we're talking about how to remove accounts fast from your credit report as the wind makes my eyes water. All right, so here's the deal. You can ask me how to remove a bankruptcy fast. You can ask me how to remove a charge-off fast. You can ask me how to remove student loans fast. My answer is always going to be the same. You have to take the information from your credit report. From the credit report, what do you think the credit report is there for? Is it there for you to pick your nose with? Is it there to get your mascara off your eyes like I would really like to do right now because of this wind? No, it's so that you have the information necessary to dispute your account, right? So the question really should be, and again, I apologize if the wind is being picked up by my mic. The question really should be, should I be sending out templates? Should I be disputing online? Should I be calling in my disputes? And the resounding answer to that is no, dude, no. If you want to remove your negative items permanently, there is a formula to do so. So instead of asking, how do I remove this type of negative item fast? Or how do I remove that type of negative item fast? You should be asking what the formula is. You see, there's a very specific way that you should be writing your disputes, right? Not only the dispute reason using the Agero formula, but you should be using a formula to write that very top part of your dispute letter. Now, what the heck am I talking about? It's really simple. When you write your letter, it's not pursuant to this and Congress says that and Cushman versus TransUnion. No, dude, stop it. Stop writing letters like that. You are not going to remove your negative items, but what you are going to do is spin yourself in a circle for a bunch of years, and you don't want to do that. What you need to tell them is what you want. What the heck are you writing that letter for? What do you want? I'm writing this letter because you have inaccurate information on my credit report. I'm writing this letter because you didn't respond to my last dispute. I'm writing this letter because, and then tell them what you want them to do. I want for you to, number one, investigate, and number two, remove this inaccurate information. Why are we using the word inaccurate? If you know, smash the like. If you know why we're using the word inaccurate, then you are way ahead of everybody else. The reason we're using inaccurate is because Metro 2 doesn't say anything about unverified or incomplete. It says inaccurate, right? Now, before you get your panties all twisted in a bunch, yeah, okay, the FCRA says inaccurate, incomplete, or unverifiable, right? Now, this is why you see all of these courses and these gurus and all these videos that say, oh, well, all you have to do is say that's unverified and you're putting the, burden of proof on them. No, dude, no. What you need to understand is that the bureaus don't care what the FCRA says. The FCRA was enacted because of the abuse of the industry. Like, hello. It wasn't enacted because they do their job. It wasn't enacted because they respond to you. It wasn't enacted because they remove stuff that they're supposed to. No, dude, it's there because they don't do their job. Okay, so that's the first thing that you need to understand. So second thing is they don't care what the FCRA says. Okay, so yes, it says unverified, incomplete, or inaccurate. All right, but Metro 2 is what the bureaus go by. So it says inaccurate. That is why we're using inaccurate. So what you need to do, and I have made it all nice and simple for you to understand what to identify using the bulletproof training that you can access by going to bio, B as in Bravo, io.my740.com. Everything is listed on nicely on here. Now, I don't know if it shows it backwards for you, but I'm going to make it super, super simple. And yes, we went over this the other night. So if you missed it, go back a couple videos, maybe 2, possibly 3, and you were going to find it on there. If you don't know what to identify on an account, then you're never going to be able to create your Agero formula, which means that you're never going to make a dispute reason that pops, which means that you're probably not going to remove your negative item, okay? So if you want a copy of this, go to bio.my740.com. But if you just want to understand how to use this, then let's go over this together. That is why I'm doing this. That is why I am actually live. This is not recorded live. This is actually live. You're in front of my house right now, okay? So let's go over this together. All right, to remove a charge off from your credit report, fast. Again, no online disputes unless you want to give up your rights under section 623 and section 611. But anyways, you need to find all of these: date last active, date last paid, notice of dispute, date last reported. Now, before I move forward, do you know what the date last reported is, or the status date? And yes, I know they're like doing construction over there in someone's house, so I apologize if you hear that. Anyways, do you know what the status update is? If you do, then great, you're ahead of like everybody else. If you don't, that's okay too, because I'm about to tell you. When you submit a dispute and it comes back as verified as accurate, the bureaus are required to update this status date, date last reported, status update date. Okay, all the bureaus, or each of the bureaus, call it something different. Okay, so when they verify it as accurate, and again, we're using air quotes here because you know that they don't actually do an investigation, they're supposed to update this date. And when they don't, and it still shows 2017, even though here we are in 2022 disputing, then you know that they did not investigate the account to come up with a verified response. How could you have possibly done that? So that is why this is important. So we have status update date, date last reported, activity after the close date. Now, what the heck is activity after the close date? Well, I'm going to explain it to you. When you have a charge off and it is unpaid, you did not pay that sucker, okay? Whatever, I'm not judging, all right? The whole point is that it's going to continue to have charge off down in the payment history. Now, if you go and do a little bit of research in the FCRA, it says basically that once an account is closed, it's closed. Like, how is there activity? And yes, continued reporting is activity after that account was closed. Well, there shouldn't be. There should not be anything after it says charge off. Like you went 30, then 60, then 90, 120, 150, 180, closed. Nothing after that. If there is, then guess what? It's inaccurate. You need to dispute that. Now, the only thing that would be like okay is if it said that you made a payment. Okay, yeah, that's like actual true activity. Okay, you want to make sure that you're looking at that date last active to make sure that it has not been re-aged. Now, why is that important? If you know, then you know, but if you don't, it's okay, because I'm going to explain it. And yes, I am animated today because I am on a roll this morning, okay? So what you want to understand is that once an account is re-aged, now you have in another, 7 years or whatever. So like if the account was supposed to fall off in 2017, but you submitted a dispute and they updated it. Instead of updating the date last reported, they updated the date last active. Now you have another 7 years on that sucker. That means that when it falls off the other two bureaus, it's still going to be sitting there. And it means that it's not going to come off naturally until another 7 years. You don't want that to happen. Now, these are the things that are at the top of the hierarchy. I didn't give you anything that is going to make the accounts not come off. Now, there are certain things that you want to know that you should not be using, and that is also right here. The things you should not be using are, unless they are blatantly inaccurate. So let's just caveat, unless it's blatantly inaccurate, like balances or past dues, you should not be using balance, limit, term, status, high balance, type, or open date. Now, a note on high balance. One thing you want to be looking for is if the high balance is lower than the balance. Dude, how? The high balance is the highest balance the account has ever had. So how could my high balance be lower than my current balance? Like, what? That makes absolutely no sense, okay? Now, again, I said blatantly inaccurate. What that means is 3 different balances or 2 different balances, 3 different, past dues, monthly payments on a closed account. Look at the information on your credit report. Okay, you need to back up everything that you do and everything that you say with facts, okay? Like I said at the beginning, in case you were not here, your credit report is there the way that I see it, okay? It doesn't matter if this is not true, but this is the way that I see it. Your credit report is there for you to use to remove your negative items, okay? And this is the same as an attorney going to court. They are going to use evidence to sway the jury or the judge, right, during a trial or whatever, to go a specific way. Now, this is America, right? We are, and I may or may not agree with this, but we are innocent until proven guilty, right? And we do this by, going through the justice system, right? And an attorney will take whatever evidence or, proof that they have, regardless of whether it actually is true or not, to make it look like their defendant or their client or whatever is not guilty, right? Now, the reason that people get off on crimes that they actually committed was because they had a really good attorney to spin a story. We're doing the exact same thing. I don't care if you were late. I don't care if you actually did not pay. I don't care if it belongs to you or if it doesn't belong to you. This information is here for us to spin our story the same that an attorney does in court to get these things off, okay? So always keep that in mind when you're thinking, oh, accurate versus inaccurate. It doesn't mean valid or not valid. I'm not saying this is yours or not yours. What I'm saying is that this information can be used to prove that you are, that you were not late, that you were on time, that this blah, blah, blah. Okay. So let's go to the next one. How do you remove late payments? I don't care if you were actually late. How do you remove a late payment? Is it by saying, remove this entire account because of the balance? Is it because of something else? No, it is because this is really, really important so I really, really need you to pay attention. Okay, so late payments, the only way to legally verify a late payment is for the bureaus or the data furnisher to send a copy of the data furnisher's bank statement proving when you were actually paid on time or not paid on time. And that is the only legal form of verification, because anything else, I don't care what it is, anything else is hearsay, right? And you cannot tell me that someone is going to share their bank statement with you. They're not going to send it to you. They're not going to send it through the bureaus. They're going to say, oh yeah, Bob or Jane or John, was late on X date. And so yeah, it's verified as accurate. No, it is not. No, it's not. So the way that you want to construct your dispute reason for a late payment is inconsistent reporting between 2 to 3 bureaus. Now, what if it's only on one bureau? I was not late on date. Remove it for inaccuracy, right? Not remove the account unless you actually want to use the late payments to remove an account or to remove a charge off, which that does work. I use it all the time. You're going to say that there's inconsistent reporting between 2 to 3 bureaus, and you're going to list the dates to prove the facts, right? And another one would be choosing the oldest late payment date. So you want to use something like Smart Credit, and you can go to smartcredit.com/Vargas, V as in Victor, ARGAS consulting, to use my link to sign up for it. It gives you a 7-year payment history, so you can go back to the oldest late payment and say, I paid on time on X date. Either remove this account for inaccuracy or remove this late payment, and then start going down the list of late payments. Once you get that removed or 2 removed, now go to the third one. Keep on going until you get all of your late payments removed. Now, one thing that I am asked all of the time is, how do you remove a bankruptcy? How do you remove it fast? Well, first of all, one thing that you want to understand is this is 2022. You're not removing a bankruptcy fast. And if you are, you're probably not using a legal method, okay? Sorry to burst your bubble, but that is just how it works. And no, you should not be getting that letter from the court to send it to the bureaus to say that they don't verify. Obviously, they don't verify. And what you're going to do is you're going to end up spinning yourself in a circle for 2 years when you could have just used the information on the credit report to get it off in less than 12 months, if it can come off, all right? So what you should be looking for is the court name. The court name has to report as U.S. Bankruptcy Court, city, state. If it's not reported like that, it's inaccurate. It is inaccurate. Look at the docket number, okay? Look at the filing date. Now, you see, I used to use Credit Check Total, right? And Credit Check Total was super awesome because Equifax always reported inaccurately. It would report with like the year 0001. Like, okay, what? So it was great because I could get a bankruptcy off in like 5 days. However, in January of 2018, when I switched over to Identity IQ, Credit Check Total just totally took a plunge. Like, they switched over 100% to like Experian reporting and all that. And now, it made it impossible to be able to use it to get bankruptcies off, right? Still work for judgments and tax liens, but not so much for bankruptcy. So now these are the 3 ways that you can go after a bankruptcy. Again, Court name, U.S. Bankruptcy Court, city, state. Anything else, U.S. Bankruptcy Court, U.S. BK, RPT, CT, federal court, dist court, any of those, all of those, no, those are inaccurate. Remove this from the credit report, okay? Now, obviously, that's only 3 ways to go after it, right? But what about violations? What about their failure to correct per FCRA regulations and non-compliance? What about all of those things? That is how you continue to go after them, okay? Now, let's go to the next one. Okay, so removing inquiries. I am asked how to remove inquiries like every single day of my life over like the last 10 years, okay? Yes, I've been doing this for 10 years. If you go check out my channel and look at all the videos that go back to July of 2015, I have been doing this for a very long time. I know exactly what I'm talking about. At least most days, I think that I like to know that, like, I like to think that I know what I'm talking about. But I do have the numbers to prove it. So anyways, inquiries, they are not easy anymore. 2013, you were able to get inquiries off in like 2 to 3 weeks. And then it was 4 weeks, and then it was 2 months, and then it was 3 months, so on and so forth. So we are at pre-pandemic 4 months, currently post-pandemic 6 months. So you want to make sure that you are not racking up inquiries unnecessarily because they are so hard to get off. So you need to turn into that negative Nancy that is calling, you're faxing, you're emailing, you are calling the bureaus, because initially I was talking about the data furnisher. You are writing, you are knocking on their door if they are like, in your neighborhood. You need to do everything possible to get those inquiries off. Now, I do have a how to remove inquiries webinar right here on YouTube. If you go to my main channel, under the image, there's like a little search box. If you type in the word inquiry, you will find it. And it's 40 minutes of just awesomeness. Okay. And it's 100% for free. Like, why wouldn't you? Okay. So with inquiries, what you want to do is use the no permissible purpose for reporting to get it off with the bureaus. You still have the chance to get it off with them, even though they're going to tell you that it's a matter of record. With the actual data furnisher, like I said, you need to do everything except for like take them out to dinner. You need to call them, fax them, email them, knock on their door, send them as many letters as you can fit into, this small period of time that you're trying to remove them from your credit report. And eventually they will come off. Obviously, they only stay on there for 2 years, okay? So no permissible purpose with the bureaus. It should only be to pull your credit report. It should only be allowed if it's, employment, insurance, court order, or I can't remember the other one off the top of my head. So with the actual data furnisher, you are requesting the actual signature that proves that you gave authorization. So when you go to a dealership, you are signing for that one dealership to pull your credit. Now, yes, there's a little line on there somewhere, and you always want to look to see if it says that they can shop your thing around to, everybody, but most of the time it's not going to be there saying that they can do that. So that is a document that you're requesting. You want to find your authorization form that you signed so that you can prove that they pulled your credit illegally, basically, okay? Now, to remove portfolio recovery, to remove Midland, to remove second round, and all of those other debt buyers, NCA, and all of those, yes, they are difficult, and no, you should not be using method of verification. If you use method of verification, if you use validation of debt, if you write to them directly, and it's within the statute of limitations for them to take you to court, then you're saying, hello, here I am, sue me, okay? You're letting them know that you probably have money. You probably are trying to fix your credit, which means that you're trying to get a house, which means you probably have a little bit of money put away so that they can come sue you. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you want to remove them, there's very specific things that you want to look for, like late payments on a collection. It's a collection. It's late. It should not be on there. Past due. Hello, it's a collection. It is past due. Those two things should not be on there. The status should not say 120 days late. So past due, late payments, 120 days late, anything other than collection under the status. And then now you're going down the factual hierarchy, right? Date less active, date less paid, so on and so forth. Notice of dispute. Okay, so we reached the end of this, but if you want to get your copy of this so that this is actually the solution sheet, and yes, I give you the solution sheet because I want you to learn these things so that you can actually remove the negative items from your credit report fast, head over to bio.my740.com. And if you want to see if I can do this for you, the link is always the same. It is my740.com, my740.com. All right, so that is it. I have calls and files and children to feed, so I am going to go. But I hope you have a wonderful day, and it's getting a little bit cold out here, so I'll see you later.